Chapter 16. Money in the Soil. Relation between soils and skulls, the secrets of successful farming, why go to Alaska when there are gold mines at the home, jute, a keyword to fortune, $1 million in the suggestion, what ignorance costs the American farmer, arrival of King Cotton, doubling one's money in fowls, how to get a big apple crop every year, $6,000 a year to go to South America, or, if you want to go west, Uncle Sam will give you a slice of land, onions that open sesame to fortune, breaking records with potatoes, Yankees. And hickory nuts, how Plunger Walton made a fortune in 2 years, the great Elmendorf stock farm. We often hear it said that there is no money in farming. On the other hand, there are few occupations in which there is so much money if the work is carried on in the right way. The trouble is that people often think it takes little intellect to be a farmer. The truth is just the reverse. To get returns out of the soil, there must be brains in the skull. We know a farmer on Long Island with less than 60 acres of land who has acquired a fortune in 15 years of close application to the problems of the farm. He has found the secret of knowing how to make nature give down her milk. Every foot of land is under cultivation, and although he employs often as many as 20 men, he gives every part of the work his personal inspection. Further than this, his 3 secrets of success, he tells us, are what, when and where, what to plant, when to plant, and where to market. Do you know it is a fact that $500 million more was received from the sale of crops this year than last? What do you think of that, you Klondikers who suffer hardships in the Alaskan mountains for the sake of a little gold which, after all, you will probably never get? If the gold output of the newly discovered regions of the far north reaches this year $10 million, a most liberal estimate, and probably 2 or 3 times the actual yield, remember that the soil right here at home, with 1/2 the labor and none of the risk of life, has yielded 50 times that amount. And this is not the actual yield, but only the surplus over and above what the fields gave the year before. 500 millions of gold more than last year dug out of the soil, think of it. In the following examples, we only give the byways of farming, that is, what can be done by the cultivation of a single product, and not what may be accomplished in the regular way. Of course, much more can be made by the raising of several staples, and by a systematic rotation of crops. 7-Eleven, substitute for silk duck, send to the Department of Agriculture for jute seed. Jute will take dye as a sponge takes water, and it has a gloss, which makes it capable of being used in combination with silk so as to defy detection. Remember that when a thing can be made to look like some other thing at 1/20th the cost, it opens the way for mines of wealth. A word to the wise is sufficient. Jute needs a warm climate, and you must go to the southern states. 712, Washington Pippins. They are known as Newtown Pippins, but let us give you a secret. The soil of the state of Washington is so adapted to this apple that you can raise from 1/4 to 1/2 greater crops than in any other state. Apple raisers, remember this. 713, Dorsets and Downs, fancy breeds of sheep. $200 million worth of wool from these breeds were imported last year. That was what we paid for a name, and for our ignorance in not knowing that we can raise just as good sheep here. Reader, if you want a share of this $200 million, study a good book about sheep farming, purchase a few of these 2 famous breeds, and put the wool on the market as the genuine Dorset, for so it is. The place counts for not one atom, only the breed. 714, American cheese. Here again we are foolishly playing into the hands of foreigners, paying $1,500,000 every year for that which can be produced equally as good and cheap at home. Everybody should know that there is no better spot on the globe for the kind of pasture that makes delicious cheese than Delaware County in the state of New York. We pay these millions to foreigners because we do not produce enough at home, but here, within 2 or 3 hours' freightage of the metropolis of the Western world, we have the best cheese-producing country on earth. 715, business apples. We call them business apples because they will mean a good business for you if you are wise enough to undertake their culture. Go to Missouri and try the Ben Davis variety. The soil of that state is the best for that kind of apple. A man there set out 200 trees, and last year sold $450 worth of Ben Davis apples. At the same rate, 1,000 trees, covering about 5 acres, should bring you $2,500. 716. Fortunes in Poppies. Underscore 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 underscore. Here is another new idea. France has caught upon it. Why may not the farmer of this country? 500,000 pounds of opium are sold every year in our drugstores, but it has been thought that the drug could only be raised in the East. This is a mistake. The French farmers sold 5 million francs worth last year. It yields a net profit of $25 an acre and requires little culture. It may yet become a rival of King Cotton in our southern states, but those who are wide awake enough to be the first in the field will reap the lion's share of this new bidder for our enterprise. 717. The Capon Farm. 100% capons. This is the actual experience of a raiser. He operated on 40, sent them to market and realized $39.24. He estimates the cost of keeping at less than 50 cents each. There are few investments in which the gross proceeds are double the cost. In addition, the raising of capons may be carried on with the ordinary poultry farm. 718. Barrels of Baldwins. The home of this market favorite is northern New York and northern New England. It is a hardy tree. Apple trees commonly bear only every second year and often cease to bear altogether. The secret of success is to stir the soil and add a little fertilizer. Good Baldwins, commanding from $2.50 to $3.50 per barrel, may be raised every year with the certainty of clockwork, if the owner only exercises proper diligence and care. 719. Rare rodents. Money in rats and mice. In killing them? No, in raising them. At the pet stock department, an appendage of the poultry show in New York recently, rats and mice, white or finely marked, brought all the way from $1 to $12, according to the fineness of the colors. It will be a revelation to most farmers that there is money in creatures which they have hitherto regarded as pests to be put out of the way. 720. Mortgage lifter oats. So called because a man developed a particular variety, and with the sales, advertised as fancy seed and bringing more than double the ordinary kind, lifted a crushing mortgage from his farm. You can develop a variety as well as he. Give it a taking name and advertise freely. 721. Record-breaking dates. A date plantation of 500 or 600 acres and capable of holding 30,000 trees can be bought for $500. The 5th year after planting the trees should bear 60,000 pounds of dates, worth at least $6,000. Pretty good return for $500. Dates are raised chiefly in South America. 722. Dollar wheat. Western farmers have contended that if they could command $1 a bushel for wheat, they could get rich. This year their hopes have been realized. If it is, as many believe, the beginning of better times for the wheat raiser, and the cereal can be kept at that price, you have but to follow the advice of Horace Greeley and go west to become a rich man. The government will give you the land, and industry and economy will do the rest. 723. Leaf tobacco. Where tobacco can be raised, farmers have abandoned nearly every other crop. It needs a rich, warm soil and some experience in order to ensure success, but if you once learn the trade, you will hardly try to raise anything else. North of Virginia, it must be raised at the bottomlands of the rivers. Price, $8 to $10 per 100 pounds. 724. Tree nursery. The expense of a tree nursery is almost nothing beyond the first investment. Small trees before transplanting may be set 1 foot apart, and hence an acre will hold about 44,000. At 9 cents apiece, the average price, this means $3,960. Deduct for labor and expressage. The success of the tree merchant depends almost solely on his finding a market. 725. Round number onions. The round number of 1,000 bushels to the acre has been done, and can be done under favorable circumstances. In a certain district in Fairfield County, Con, nearly all the men are well-to-do farmers. Ask them the secret of their success, and the one reply will be onions. Here, surely, even in Rocky, Connecticut, farming pays. They get from 75 cents to $1.25 per bushel. The crop is not always a safe one, dependent upon weather conditions, but, taken one year with another, the farmers do well, and steadily add to their bank account. 726. Potato profits. Let us see what can be done with potatoes. In a prize contest recently, the average per acre was 465 bushels. The highest was 975 bushels. The price per bushel was from 60 to 66 cents. The next profit was on the average $260 per acre, and in case of the highest, was about $500. Of course, this is vastly above what is accomplished by the ordinary farmer, but it shows what can be done with good soil, liberal dressing, prolific variety, and thorough tillage. 727. Golden geese. Here is one man's experience. I bought a gander and 3 geese. From the geese I received yearly 40 eggs each in 2 litters, or a total of 120. I find that from this number of eggs I can safely count on 75% of matured chicks, or 90 goslings. The weight when fatted is 855 pounds, and at 20 cents a pound I receive $171. Cost of keeping is $46. Profits, $125. Of course, the sum varies one year from another, but this is my average for 5 years. At the same rate, the goslings from 100 geese would pay a net profit of $4,125, but if they paid only 1/4 that sum, it would still be a profitable investment. 728. California prunes. This great state has now 85,000 acres planted with prunes, and produced last year 65 million pounds. The crop has grown from nothing to this enormous amount in the last few years. People do not rush into an enterprise in this way unless they are pretty sure it is a good thing. The good thing in this case is that prunes costing 1.5 cents per pound to raise sell for 6 and 7 cents, and the prune raisers are all getting rich. 729. A bee farmed. Here is another California bonanza. Says a man in the southern part of the state, last year I marketed 10 tons of extracted honey and 3 tons of comb honey, all from 154 colonies. I received on an average 10 cents per pound, or a total of $3,600. The space employed was 1,386 feet, or somewhat less than an acre. 730. The apple acred. A man in New England said that after 40 years' experience raising all kinds of crops, he found that his apple orchard averaged $55 per acre, which was better than any crop on his other 200 acres of land. 731. The sugar beet. Purchase a farm within a few miles of a sugar beet factory. With proper cultivation, you can grow 9 tons to the acre, and the factory price should be $4.50 per ton. The thriftiness of the beet makes little trouble with weeds, and hence the expense of raising is not 1/4 that of onions. 732. Gilt-Edged breeds. The sum of $5,100 was recently paid for a Poland China boar. A litter of pigs of this breed brought $3,500. These sums seem almost incredible, but when people have both the mania and the money, they will pay any amount to gratify their taste. There are persons who take as much pride in pigs as others do in horses. The best way to succeed with new breeds is to cultivate a strain for yourself. It requires time, patience, and experience, and some outlay and risk, but in the end it pays, especially if one has the gift of knowing how to trumpet his stock. 733. December layers. With a trifling expense, you can have eggs at Christmas as well as at Easter. The price is often more than double at the former season. Connect with hot water pipes and keep your hens warm. A cold hen never lays an egg. A poultry expert says if a flock is well cared for the whole year round, it should pay annually for each hen $1 net. At the same rate, a flock of 400 would bring a net income of $400. 734. Florida celery. In Florida, the first growers made from $500 to $1,500 per acre. Competition has reduced the price, but at present rates men with 6 acres are getting a comfortable support, and those who have the means to cultivate a large farm of this popular vegetable are rapidly growing rich. 735. Oneida hops. It takes a good many hops to weigh a pound, but growers in Oneida County, New York, have raised 1,400 pounds per acre, receiving therefore $112. Probably this is somewhat better than the average, but profits in even low-price years are better in that section of the country than for any other crop. Hops are a safe and easy crop. 736. Boston beans. They are not raised in Boston, only baked there. They are a hardy crop, and will grow on any properly cultivated soil. One year with another they bring $2.50 per bushel. Beans are the surest of all crops, and if the price were only as certain, you could figure out your income in advance almost as accurately as if employed on a salary. 737. Christmas trees. Buy for a few $100s an abandoned farm too poor for culture, and pack it with small evergreens. Christmas trees command from 50 cents to $5, and you can grow 1,000 of them on a single acre. There are fortunes in what is called worthless land if you know how to improve it. 738. The guaranteed egg. A great business can be done with a guaranteed egg. Success depends upon the absolute perfection of your egg. Have a stamp made, and stamp every egg with the name of your farm, and offer to replace any one found faulty. Also stamp the date on which they are taken from the nest. In this way, you will absolutely protect your product from the frauds of dealers, your eggs will attain a wide reputation, will have an unlimited demand, and you will grow rich. There is a mine of gold in this suggestion. 739. Double vegetable cultured. Here is an idea of a New Jersey farmer. He has conceived the notion of grafting tomatoes on potatoes vines, or an air crop on a root crop, and thus raising vegetables at both ends. There is nothing impracticable in the notion, and it is doubtless entirely feasible, if only he is liberal enough with his fertilizers. This is an idea for growers who have only a limited space, and where land is high. 740. English Shires. Colts from Lord Rothschild's stud farm last year averaged $875. It costs little more to keep a good horse than a poor one. There are great possibilities in the raising of fine-blooded horses. The colt that won the Great Futurity race this year could have been easily bought for $700 before the race. Now $20,000 will not purchase him. Plunger Walton made $350,000 in 2 years on the turf. At the Elmendorf stud farm near Lexington, Kentucky, a short time ago 33 yearling colts were sold at prices ranging from $150 to $5,100, the average price being $1,460.87 per head. At the same time 20 yearling fillies brought an average of $676.50 per head. The 43 yearling colts and fillies being the product of one breeding farm and selling in one day for $47,130 or an average of $1,095.80 per head.